If you're a runner, it is very important to get your shoe fitted. It will not only help you avoid injury, but it can also make you a stronger runner. So today I talked to an expert about the benefits of getting the proper shoe for your stride. I visited Fleet Feet on Wolf Road in Albany, New York. The whole staff there is knowledgeable and active in the running community. They provide a variety of services and classes for runners. Charlie and Arlene Woodruff are the owners, and today I talked to Charlie about the topic of how to pick the right shoe. So, Charlie, thank you so much for letting me come to talk to you about the benefits of proper footwear.
You bet.
I really appreciate it. It's great. You guys are amazing when it comes to finding the proper footwear for your stride. And talk about why it's so critical to have the best shoe for your stride.
You betcha. First of all, years and years ago, we paved and flattened our world, so we made it very hard. So think of your shoes as the tires on your car. Think of them as the ability to absorb shock properly, to disperse that shock properly. Remember that when we slam our foot into the ground, it's 3 to 5 times our body weight every time we hit the ground. The shoe that you have on your foot has to support you properly, and we're all individuals. There are lots of different types of shoes. So remember that we have to identify each person individually, surround that foot, that body with the correct support underneath, make sure the shape of the shoe matches the shape of the foot properly, never put the foot where it doesn't want to go, and then allow that footwear to do its work in a minimal way, and I'll just allow the foot to be the foot.
Now, we all tend to buy shoes by fashion. You know, like I think I did that too, and that's how I ended up with IT band syndrome, because I bought some really cool, bright colored shoes. Fashion should be second, right? I mean, especially if you're running, right?
Yeah, I'll
Let's
joke
address
about that.
that.
I'll joke about that a little bit. I used to argue with all the footwear manufacturers that the main shoes needed to be in multiple colors. Then color got way important, and it became a fashion statement rather than a function statement. Your running shoe purchase is a function purchase. When we can put fashion with it, great, but remember that there's a job that has to be done by the footwear. Now I'm arguing with the footwear companies that I want 2 colors. I want to take away some of the options because it becomes sort of the driver sometimes. I want what looks nice, not necessarily what acts nice and works on my behalf. So we have to be really, really careful with that. And people that are buying your footwear, you need to be very careful with that. Remember there's a job that needs to be done with these.
Okay, so you do actual stride tests here. Talk a little bit about what that entails and why it's so important to know what your stride is, because some people pronate, supinate, some people have a nice steady stride.
Absolutely, and when we're doing our measuring, which is done in a couple of different ways, it's done in an unweighted fashion from a seated position, then a weighted fashion, and if I can use my hand as my foot here for just a second, if this is my foot, we're trying to determine how flexible or not flexible the foot is. The very flexible foot, that foot where the arch moves a lot, tends to need a little bit more stability and support. Right. Because to your point, that more flexible foot, unless it's properly supported, tends to flex and then roll inward and pronate. On the other side of that is a very high arch. It doesn't flex very much. That foot tends not to need a lot of support, but it needs a lot of cushioning because the foot is hitting the ground like this. The flexing of the arch is a natural position for it. The arch is there to flex a bit and absorb shock. The problem that we have is on that hard, flat world we talked about a little bit ago. The foot flexes too much, the foot pronates and tends to stay there for about 80% of us when it should be back in a neutral position. The footwear, when it's properly done, helps us and sometimes creating some shape and structure for the foot inside of the shoe with a support piece. It creates a very neutral, stable environment for the foot to operate inside of the shoe, and then hence when you're on the ground, we're putting the entire foot on the ground.
Charlie, thank you so much for talking about this.
You're
really
welcome.
Proper footwear is key.
Take it really important. It's very important. Take it very seriously. It really is the key to this sometimes. So
Thank you so much for your advice. I wish I would have talked to you before I had IT band syndrome.
Well, now you won't have to worry about it again.
No, exactly, because they can't hear actually.
Yeah, thanks. All right.
Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you.
The JK Challenge, inspiring the way to a healthier you. Consult your personal physician before starting this or any other fitness or diet program.